In this video, we're talking about goals, how to set them and how to actually achieve them. Let's do it. What's up guys? It's December 31st, it's New Year's Eve, 5 to 3 in the afternoon. It's a beautiful sunny day here in Florida. I should be at the beach taking some sun, but I wanted to film this quick video for you guys first. And the reason why is that I just realized that I actually hit my Amazon sales goal for the year. So I'm gonna hop into my computer and just show you that real quick. All right, here we are. And I've taken a little bit of time off recently, so I haven't been checking my sales numbers every day, but it's the end of the year, so I went and had a look. My goal, by the way, guys, was 2 million for the year. And in the US, I didn't quite get there, but I sell in the UK, and the UK actually started doing a lot better than I was really expecting. This year, I haven't really planned much for Europe. It's just sort of like extra sales, but I got there. I don't even know what the conversion rate is, but that's around about $120,000, I'm guessing. Which brings me just over my 2 million mark, which is awesome. And you guys can see there the growth. So the red line was when I was pretty much just starting. That was like a month or 2 months in. And so you can see the difference between the two, the red and the blue line, is my growth from last year to this year. And so you can see I grew a lot last year, grew it all the way, almost all the way up to the blue line. And then last year was big, 300,000. This year, pretty flat, not that much growth. It hasn't been something that I've been focusing on that much, but still a big Q4 as well. So guys, I just wanted to show you that I hit my goal and I'm happy, and I'm gonna hop back to the camera and let's talk about setting these goals. Okay, so that was one of my 3 big goals for the year. I just snuck in with this one, and I also just snuck in with the other goals as well. So I'm learning more and more as I've gone on, particularly in the last couple of years since I started this Amazon business, since I've started doing realistically a lot more with my life. The goals are actually really easy to hit if you go into it the right way, you know how to set them correctly, and then you know how to achieve them correctly. So I just wanted to run you through a couple of notes that I've been looking at for myself. Over the last couple of weeks, I've been planning my goals for the next year, which I can share with you guys in another video. But at least for now, anyway, I just wanted to tell you guys how I'm approaching this, okay? So I'm gonna break it down first into setting the goals, just some tips or some things that I've learned, and then also how to achieve them. So what are the tools, the tactics, the techniques, and I guess the secrets as well that I've learned in the process of not just setting them, but then actually achieving them. What are the things that made the biggest difference that you can go away and just implement today, particularly as right now it's coming into the new year. Now's the time for New Year's resolutions. And I know that the sad and unfortunate fact is that, you know, the vast majority of New Year's resolutions will never actually get achieved, which is a terrible thing. So first, setting goals. And let's talk about setting the right goals, because I think the biggest trap that we can fall into, or that we do fall into, is not connecting the goal. So you want to lose weight, or you want to quit your job, or you want to make X amount of dollars per year this year. You have a goal and that's all well and good, but what's the reason? What's the driving, the motivating force that's making you actually do that? Or like when you achieve it, what would you get out of it? The biggest trap that we fall into is not answering that why really correctly, getting it down to the fundamentals, the essence. So, you know, like what is the impact on your life that quitting a job is actually going to give you? Or not, maybe it's not you, maybe it's the people around you, or maybe it's you want time to be able to, you know, bring your passion to the world, or your hobby, or you want to create something for the world. Whatever that reason is, distill it down to its fundamental core where it actually impacts your body and your being, and you can feel that, because that is the thing that's going to really motivate you, for example, to get out of bed every day and actually pursue that goal step by step, like I'll be talking about in the next section in this video. If that isn't really tightly defined, if you don't have that, if you can't, for example, post it up on your wall somewhere and look at that and feel it every day, that's where you start to run off the rails really easily, because it's just not that clear to you. And another benefit of distilling it down to this why that you can clearly answer is you'll figure out how much you actually want what you say you want. We make a lot of New Year's resolutions, and a lot of the time we don't actually want that thing enough to really go for it. And if you don't want it that bad, then I would just say don't disrespect yourself by promising yourself something that you're not realistically going to follow through with. Okay, so you've asked yourself why enough times that you know exactly why you're actually wanting to achieve your goal and whether you want that goal enough to really achieve it. Next, you need to make that goal a SMART goal. So SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. SMART is the rubric that I like to use with my goals. Basically, you're trying to make your goals measurable so you can actually track your progress against them. For example, I'm going to launch 8 products this year. It means that I know that if I'm launching one every 1.5 months or whatever that is, then I'm going to be on track to meet my goal at the end of the year. Attainable, that is basically a balance between, is this something that you can realistically achieve, and is this something that's going to push you hard to achieve it? So for example, with income, if you want to make $1 million or become a millionaire, in net profit and in like cash on Amazon in 1 year, that's going to be really difficult to do. You can easily sell $1 million, but then obviously you've got to take all of your expenses out of that and you'll be left with a couple $100,000 left at the end of it. So in 1 year, that's doable. Or for example, in more general terms, I found that aiming for a 100% increase in income year on year is doable. 10 times, for example, would be really hard if you're following the same sort of pattern of growth or the same systems as you were the year before. You got to think about your particular situation and work out what you can do, but then make sure that that is really stretching you to the limits. Because again, it's better to set a high target and like fall a bit short than it is to set a really low target or to just never try at all. And then relevant, that just comes back to your why. Again, like we just talked about, is this something that you really want to do? Is this going to help your life? And how is it going to help your life? Or how is it going to get you to where you want to go? Last one is time bound. So just make sure that you have specific time limits on all of your goals. And if you have goals within those goals, make them time bound, because otherwise you will take forever to achieve them. To sum it up, the idea of setting yourself SMART goals is basically to give yourself a system of measurement time frames in which you can measure yourself against, and then make all of that happen in a pretty quick time that'll basically push you to your limits, but allow you to get there and to achieve that goal. Next thing you should consider when setting your goals is prioritization and focus. And you can try and set 10, 20 goals for the year. And then when you divide your focus like that, oftentimes you'll actually just end up doing nothing. So I like to use the Pareto principle or the 80-20 principle. And that basically means that I'm going to pick one thing, maybe two, maximum three things, but more likely one thing that I'm going to do really well. And I'm going to focus my entire year around that. And I'm going to make sure that I achieve that goal. And what you need to do is pick the single most important goal that will allow you to basically improve your life with the least effort, because you can drive really hard down and achieve one single goal. But I'm finding, for example, having split my efforts more and more over the end of this year, the overall performance of everything and my ability to achieve each of those individual goals goes down as the number of goals increases. So focus on one goal, ideally, maximum 2 or 3 if you really have to, but one goal and 80 to 90% of your effort going to that one goal, and you'll find that all of the rest, if you've picked the right goal to focus on, then all the other ones will actually fall on later like dominoes. And just to share what that has looked like for me, when I was quitting my career 2.5 years ago now, I actually had a completely empty plate. And the only thing that I put on it originally when I quit my job and I had no income coming in, I actually focused everything on my health and my mental well-being, because I knew if I could get that sorted out, because I wasn't happy in my old job, if I could get that sorted out, push that domino over, then I knew that me with a clear head, like I can do a lot of stuff, but I need to clear my head first. And so that was the one thing that I focused on for about 4 months. And I did Amazon then for 1 year, pretty much at the exclusion of all else, focusing all of my efforts on it. And that was how I got to my first $1 million in sales. And as an extension of that, this year I actually found that setting 3 goals while I achieved all of my goals for the year, it really, really stretched me to the limits. And so next year I'm going to bring that back. 3 is too much. 1 is great. 2 is doable. Okay, so that's how to set goals. So first of all, focus on your why before you do anything else, then make your goals SMART goals, and then focus on the priority. So now let's talk about how to actually achieve those goals and make them a reality. So I'm going to talk about tools, habits, and environment. I'm going to start with habits because they sort of bring everything together. A goal is a dream or a vision, or it's that thing that you want to achieve, but to get there, you actually need to do a series of small, mundane steps day by day, every day for however many days, 180 days, 365, maybe more, to achieve that goal. So a habit is just any routine behavior that's done on a frequent basis. They're recurring and they're often unconscious patterns of behavior that basically you just do them over and over again until they become effortless, second nature, and eventually you don't even know that you're doing them. So we want to reverse engineer back from our big goal into these small little steps that we need to do over and over again, and then form them into habits. And you can call them routines, you can call them rituals, you can call them whatever you want. Basically, it's like taking that hard goal that you need to achieve and then at least putting parts of it on autopilot. So if you can unlock the power of habits, then I can guarantee you that most of the goals in your life that you set for yourself will suddenly start to seem effortless. I'm not going to talk more about habits in this video, but I do recommend, if you're interested and you want to learn more about how to use habits to achieve your goals, then check out The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. One quote that I really like, which I'm just going to read off my screen, is the difference between who you are and who you want to be is what you do. And what you do every day, more than 50% of your waking hours are actually spent basically executing habits, so acting on autopilot. So what you need to do, focus on replacing bad habits with good habits that are actually pushing you towards your goal rather than away from it. So let's talk about tools and environment now. And all they are, at least in this context, are ways to enable the good habits and prevent or disable the bad habits. So first of all, environment. And there are a number of different things we can talk about, but in each area of your environment, you want to be looking at that environment and thinking about, well, is this enabling a bad habit or a bad default behavior or a good behavior, one that's going to get me closer to those goals? So we could talk about, first of all, people you hang around with. What do you normally talk about with your friends or your family? Are you normally talking about, are you gossiping, or are you arguing, or are you talking about building things? Are you talking about, achieving your goals? Are you talking about achieving financial freedom? Surrounding yourself with people that are thinking the same way and are promoting the same default behaviors will build the right habits for you. So that may mean dropping friends out of your life and adding in new friends. Whatever you need to do, make that happen so that the people around you, the people that you're spending your waking hours with and that you're talking to, are helping you build those good habits. And next, your workspace, your home environment. These things are super important as well for habits. And unfortunately, normally we have things around us that give us or push us to do bad default behaviors and bad habits. Like, for example, what's the first thing that you do when you wake up? I'm gonna guess and bet that you probably check your phone within the first 10 minutes of waking up. That is a really bad default behavior because it's basically wasting time. You're not doing anything productive in that time. Maybe you're checking Facebook, maybe you're checking Instagram, checking your text messages, emails, something like that. Most of those are not actually going to help you get towards achieving your goal. The simple environmental change that you need to make there is literally just put your phone away from your bed so that when you go to bed and then wake up the next morning, you just get up out of bed and you start, performing your morning routine or whatever it is that you need to do. And in general, if you look at all of your environments, whether it's your home or whether it's your workspace, most of the things that you want to do around environmental changes will involve removing things or removing access to things. This thing is the worst. I'd remove applications from it, turn off all of your notifications. You should never actually get notified about almost anything except maybe, personal instant messages, but you don't need emails. You definitely don't need social media. So I would turn all of that stuff off. And once you make that environmental change, you're going to have less distractions coming in and you'll start to weaken your bad habits, which is the default behavior of, scrolling through Instagram. And then you'll have more time and more focus to enable the good habits, which is working on your computer to build your business, for example. So next up, let's talk about tools. Now, tools are just things that you can build and use on a daily basis to make building those habits easier. So one example that I like to use are Pomodoros. And this is my Pomodoro timer on my phone. Yes, I know I said phones are bad, but it really depends how you use them. So I will always set airplane mode and then set my Pomodoro timer. And when I'm working, when this timer is on, I am focused working. So I do that for 45 minutes or 40 to 50 minutes, and then I'll have a 5 to 8 minute break. And basically the trigger, when that happens enough time and that triggers enough times, you know that when it's work time, it's work time. When it's rest time, rather than there being this sort of like interaction of the two all the time, which inevitably leads you down rabbit holes of YouTube or of Facebook or social media, of making phone calls and chatting to people, and you'll waste hours that way and recognize that you didn't actually get anything done. So a tool like a Pomodoro timer is incredibly effective for building that habit so that when you're working, you're focused. In general, when you're looking for tools to build habits, you just want something that's going to give you some sort of feedback, some sort of encouragement, or like a reward basically every time you do one of these good actions, one of these good habits that will get you towards your goal. And what this is, it actually triggers a dopamine reward in your brain. It's your reward system and makes you feel good. And here's a really simple example, like the habit app that I use. And this app is literally just a bunch of tick boxes. And so when I tick the box every day, I feel good. I get a little dopamine hit and it helps me build a habit. And this actually shows you little graphs so it can show you how strong that habit is. And the idea is to get that little line to go up. It's as simple as that. Any kind of delayed gratification, like, well, I reward myself with, a nice meal, or I will have lunch after I've worked for 2 hours, things like that are all going to help you build these good habits. You can also use tools to build habits through negative reinforcement as well. So you can get an accountability partner. So that is another person. And again, that goes back to the environment as well, of having these people in your environment. Have a person, commit to them, promise to them that you're going to do not the goal, not the big goal, but the actual habits, the little steps day by day that you need to do, and have them check up on you. Weekly or however often. And if you haven't done what you say, then get them to punish you, literally. I have done this once where you actually agree to pay that person money. If you don't do what you say you're going to do, then you're going to pay them $100 or something like that. And I actually had to pay $100 to my friend when I didn't do what I said I was going to do. But it makes you work, and it doesn't need to be a large amount, but it puts skin in the game and it pushes you towards building those good habits. Anything visual as well that you can put up around you, like if you can have a calendar where if you're trying to work every day or you're trying to exercise every day or whatever it is, then you need to check the box. And it's similar to the apps that I just showed you, but if you see that you're leaving these out, you're not doing them every day, it really does make you feel guilty. And that, again, is just a tool to help build the right habits. So that's really it for this video. I could talk about this topic for days. I'm really passionate about it, but I just wanted to leave you with some of the bigger things that I've been thinking about over the last couple of weeks. So basically, set goals that you understand your why very clearly. You have a vision for why you actually want to do this. Make the goals smart, measurable, and achievable. And then basically focus to 1 or 2. And then to achieve those goals, you need good habits, which are unconscious behaviors that are basically like a performance on autopilot, basically. And then to build the good habits, you want to use tools and control your environment to do so. So I hope you found this video valuable. If you did, do give it a thumbs up and leave me in the comments down below, what is your biggest goal right now and how are you going to achieve it? So I'll see you in the next video. Peace.